Good evening, I'm Dan Wall.
And I'm Laura Lee. Thanks for joining us. We are months away from the start of legal adult use cannabis sales in Minnesota.
And so where can Duluth businesses operate? That was one of the focuses at tonight's City Council meeting as councilors discussed zoning regulations.
Northern News Now's Ryan Hayes hears from city leaders about ordinances they want in place before the rollout next year.
A lot of work needs to happen as the state and city of Duluth prepares for the sale of pot next year.
We want to make sure that our zoning regulations are up to date with state laws, and that when businesses come forward that we have regulations in place for where they can be allowed.
Adult use cannabis sales are expected to begin next year in Minnesota, and the state is addressing where those sales can legally take place in Duluth. Councilors discussed two ordinances Thursday related to the sale of marijuana, regulation and zoning.
Essentially, under the proposed ordinance, you could go into a zone district based on what your actual use is.
According to the Planning Committee, under the ordinance, production and processing facilities for cannabis will have to be near other production facilities, while retail cannabis businesses will need to be within retail zoning areas. The second ordinance deals with regulations. Under the proposed ordinance, if a cannabis retail business doesn't have valid registration and is caught selling, they will be fined $2,000. Duluth City Attorney Terry Lair said the city intends to treat cannabis violations similarly to how they treat alcohol violations.
Ours is a violation and the penalty is going to be under Chapter 12, so it's whatever's going to be set on the annual fine schedule, very similar to how we treat alcohol violations.
Weeding out any confusion about the sale of pot before pot can be sold in the city. In Duluth, Ryan Hayes, Northern News Now.
Now, these proposed ordinances will be voted at next Monday's City Council meeting. We will have full coverage of those votes and more as they happen. Now, in August of 2023, Minnesota became the 23rd state to legalize recreational pot. That led to the creation of a new state office, the Department of Cannabis Management. OCM is now accepting applications from prospective businesses hoping to get a license to sell legal weed.